Welcome to the Nice Hair Podcast. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Haley.
We are two girls committed to being nice,
To hair and business.
and to keeping it real.
Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Action.
Welcome. This is episode 24. Heather is still with us. She was just in the episode before this, and we're going to put them out at the same time.
Yeah.
Turning the tables.
Yeah.
Changing it up a little bit. I think it'll be fun because we were saying we went to the bathroom together as women do. And our last episode was like a little bit intense. So I think this one will be like a little bit more fun and like lighthearted. So we'll hit you with the intense one first and then we'll come back at you and we'll just be fun and we won't be intense this time.
This will be so fun.
Actually, I feel like it could get a little intense. Let's tell them what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So Heather's my client, just to recap, and she has polled her audience. So she has a really great following on social media. And she polled her audience and asked her audience, what kind of questions have you always wanted to ask your hairstylist, or have you always wondered about hairstylists, but like you haven't asked them, or what are you curious about from the hairstylist side of things? So Heather, what do you have to add to that?
Well, I am super just interested in how anybody spends their day. Like whatever your job is, I'm going to ask you all the questions about it. I just think that's a great way to connect with people. But for whatever reason, I find that there is sometimes intimidation between the client and the hairstylist.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I agree.
I have a
too.
question. Is it hairdresser, hairstylist? Is one like...
I think hairdresser is, I just picture like a little old lady with like white curly hair.
I think there's perm rods involved in hairdressers.
I agree.
like calling you a beauty operator?
Yeah. So when somebody's like,
I prefer that actually. That makes me sound important.
I'm gonna call you my beauty operator.
Ooh,
from
I
now
like
on.
that.
That's what my grandma called it. I'm gonna go to see the beauty operator
I do
today.
operate beauty.
I like that.
Yeah, I
I
should
bring it
actually like
back.
that too.
Maybe I should change. Maybe we should change our description on Instagram.
Oh, mine is artist.
Yeah, it's not artist. It's beauty operator.
Let's create our own category.
Bring it back.
BO.
Like,
Maybe not so much.
Okay, whatever.
yeah. But
Okay,
I think
so
there
keep
is a
going.
level of intimidation, and I think it's that most people don't really know how to take good care of our hair, which is why we are so thankful for you. But we don't feel comfortable always asking you the questions either about our hair or about what you do or how we should respond to all of it. So,
Why do you think that is?
I think that there's a stigma. I think, okay, so the 80s and 90s, your beauty operator or hairstylist was definitely smoking cigarettes in the back room, possibly on pills, definitely drank a lot. You know, she might have like had a Harley or a Camaro or something. Like she was a little rough and not super business savvy, just trying to have fun.
I'm so picturing exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
had a bedazzler.
Definitely, yes. Yeah. She wore a jean jacket that she bedazzled herself. She had like a mini poodle that was named like Fifi. And like her kids like maybe didn't make it through high school. So now
Tight
know,
perm, high bangs.
Zing. Okay.
So now I think it's hard for the public and hard for hairstylists and just our culture in general to understand the shift that has happened, which is that hairstylists, beauty operators, whatever you want to call us, can and are very educated, business savvy people who take themselves not serious, but who take their business serious and do a lot of hard work and have a lot of education.
Tons of education.
Yeah.
So-
The good ones.
I think we can get,
but what makes that intimidating for the client to like ask questions? I'm genuinely curious.
No, you're fine.
For me, like today, getting ready and like doing my hair.
You were
I'm
nervous.
oh my gosh, I was really nervous.
Really?
It
Why?
was like,
Your hair looks great.
know.
I keep moving over the side of the microphone. It's because I'm not, I know, and every other woman out there knows who is not a hairstylist, that we can never do it like you. We
Okay.
wish we could, but we can't.
Okay, that's fair.
I
so-
can't even do it like me.
Doing
like,
my
I
hair
can't
today,
do my hair like
yeah.
how my assistant does my hair. And I always remind people that it's like literally, if you can have a 365 degree like view and hands-on situation
Or just like
with,
take your head off and
with
like,
your hair, that's
Yeah.
priceless. Like I can't do that.
yeah.
But like getting ready and doing my hair today, because normally when you see me, I have a ponytail and I'm coming in, it's like 5 days dirty and, you know, we're going to do something and wash it anyway. But it was like, if I did work out, what I would think if like I saw my, what do they call it? Trainers, my trainer in a restaurant. I'm like, ooh, he's seeing me in my real environment. Like
So
you know, is he watching what I'm eating?
I know. Yeah.
It's
Like, yeah. Because
that's fair.
You guys do view it as art.
Yes.
And it's like, I've got your little canvas on my head and I want to
represent it.
I want to represent it well. I want you to look and be like, damn,
I did really good.
She's doing right by me.
Just
Does that
for the
make
record,
sense?
your hair looks amazing.
It does look
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it looks
Just got my grays.
But I can see that. I also feel like it's funny because Haley and I are just people and we're just like, I don't think about it that way ever.
Guys, I barely brush my hair on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So.
I think there is an inherent coolness about a lot of hairstylists and I think that sometimes people are intimidated by the cool cats.
Yeah.
Like you're a cool cat. You're both cool cats. And I think sometimes people don't know how to, you know, it just, yeah. So now they love you and are comfortable around you, but they might not ask you all the questions that they want to ask.
Okay, that's fair.
I think too, people ask me like, is it hard to like get up every day and like get dressed in a cute outfit or whatever? And I'm like, no, I specifically picked this job because I like fashion. And I like being able to wear different things and I don't want to have like a uniform for work. So like, that's like a perk to me because I enjoy it, but I understand how a lot of people don't enjoy like style and fashion and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's just as individual as the stylist, you know, but I also think like your job is, it's a job requirement to be cute, like to be.
Well, we have to present ourselves well. If I look like a sloppy mess every day at the salon, who's going to want me to do their hair? Like my hair has to look good, right?
In the same way, Heather, you know, like when you're coaching anyone from your team or selling skin products, like you can't show up a mess.
Right.
You have to put yourself together. So I think it's a part of the job that some people may view as like, oh, that's so much or that's extra. And to us, it's just like,
it's just our day.
It's just clocking in. Yeah.
Well, you guys always look adorable.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. So anyways,
roll. This is fun.
I compiled a list of the questions that Heather sent me that her audience sent her. And they were so much to go through. So there was a lot of like repeat questions. So I'll do a couple of the ones that were repeated or that were, repeat questions.
The hot ones.
Yeah. I'll do those first and then I'll get down to some of the weird ones.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is fun.
So let's start out. Okay, so this was one. How do you deal with as a client if you get a really, really bad cut or color? They were asking like how should they deal with that? I'm assuming in the way of like approaching the stylist. Haley, do you want to like if a client was like, "Ooh, I just really got a terrible cut and color," and you were their friend or whatever, what would you say to them?
Well, as the professional, I'm not going to know that you're unhappy unless you tell me. So
Correct.
Communication is always key. And
What if the client's like, "I don't want to hurt her feelings"?
well, and this is, I think, different on the person because I think some people do take things very personally, but I know for me, I want my clients to be happy. And
Same.
if they're not, I want to know because I want to make that right with them. So if they're unhappy with their color or if I gave them a bad haircut that they don't like I need to know about it. However, I do think there's a line of like a blonde. How many times do blondes they're like committed? I want to go brunette. And then they do that, but then they just don't like it.
And you're like,
I did what
I completed the task. Yeah.
I did what you want. So I think it can be a gray area. Because if I'm doing what you asked and you just don't like what you asked for, I think, I'm not sure.
No, I know. I think it's just all about communication.
Yeah,
like,
but if I like
finding
mess
someone.
something up or if it's genuinely like, you took my color too dark or my haircut is crooked, I want to know, I want to fix it.
Is there a time limit that you're like, I want to know, like
Yes.
go home and sleep on it and then still see it? Like, what would you suggest for that?
I usually say within a week.
Yeah, I was going to say about a week.
Within a week. Because if you're like pushing it too long, then it comes into like, it's a whole new service essentially. Don't you think?
Yeah, because you didn't tell me that you didn't like it. And now it's 4 weeks later. And I'm like, oh, well, you're just grown and you
just
need
due for an appointment.
Yeah.
So you're not mad. You're not offended.
Never.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's what people are afraid of. We don't want to hurt.
But it's
somebody's
your
feelings.
head. You have to look at yourself in the mirror every day. Like, no.
Everyone's opinion on things is different. Like, I may think it looks pretty, but if you don't like it, or if you're like, ooh, it's just not.
So would you rather them tell you before they leave the salon on their initial appointment?
It depends, because I think if it is a drastic change, I think there is like mirror shock. I tell my extension clients with this, you might love how your hair looks when you leave, but you're going to get home and you're going to be like, what do I do with all this? And it can be overwhelming. It's the same when you get a brand new haircut. How do you style it? How do you figure it out? Like, there's a little bit of a learning curve. Mm-hmm. So I think
it's like a new pair of shoes. Like, you get them and you're like, they're always going to be like, ooh, these are new. Like, how do I walk in them? You know,
I think it depends what it is, truthfully, because I think sometimes there is a mirror shock that you have to get over.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just different. Like anything different, especially on ourselves, we notice.
But if
so much.
So I'll give you this example. Heather, you're blonde. Mm-hmm. So you probably do a similar blonde pretty much every time. Mm-hmm. If there was something about your blonde, like this last time that Hannah did your hair, that you're like, something's off. Like, I just don't love this. And if you get home and it's like the next day and I would think like Hannah would want you to be like, hey, something's off about my blonde. I don't know what it is. Can I come in and like we talk about it?
And I think that's absolutely.
I think that's a situation where it's like, no, go back in immediately. But
on our second appointment, I felt like my extensions were too thick.
Oh, yeah, this did happen to us.
And
I forget it happens like all the time.
It does.
And I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
No,
you were so cool about it.
Yeah,
like
especially
I asked for them to be thinned. And you did exactly what I asked.
And Heather's like, oh, I think they're too thin. I'm like, no
and
worries.
They were too thin. She's like, come on in. And it was so simple and so comfortable. And, popped one of my extra rows in. And but
I think just because it's like, Haley and I are just so used to dealing, because everyone has different preferences. Mm-hmm. So it's like what I might think is thin, you might think is thick. You know, like there's so many different variations, and we just want you to feel comfortable, because it's like it's not stressing us out, because we don't have to wear the hair.
But I think when you're paying, especially for a high price service such as extensions, I think it's very, very important to communicate. If you're unhappy with something, because we truly don't know unless you tell us.
And it can be an easy fix.
And you're probably so stressed because you don't want to hurt our feelings. But I think that's part of our job as a professional. Like, hey, if you have any issues, like, do not hesitate to let me know. Truly, like, I want you to be happy. And I think a lot of stylists don't make themselves approachable, which is why I think a lot of people feel weird about it.
I always try to tell people too, like, it's your responsibility to let me know, because like I'm not going to be hurt by like stuff like that, because I go home and make dinner.
There are people that are.
I know.
So that's like, that's a hard.
You do think there are stylists out there who's
yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I do.
Whose feelings are hurt or who are annoyed?
Both.
Both.
I don't know how you fix that, but
you just
but
have
don't
to
you
find
think
somebody,
if you are the client of somebody who is
yes,
like that.
Golly.
And if you don't feel like you can approach your stylist when you're unhappy, it's time to find a new stylist.
It's almost easier to start over sometimes with somebody you don't have a relationship with outside of hair.
Yes.
Because then you can genuinely talk hair to them. Like Heather and I have a stylist and client relationship, and we can talk hair, because like it's not like we're going to see each other at somebody's cousin's birthday party and be like, ooh, I wonder if Heather actually likes her hair. Like, no, we see each other and we do hair,
Yeah.
So if you're like, my hair feels thin, I'm like, ooh, let's get some extra hair in there. It's not weird.
Yeah. But I think and we've talked about this on podcast episodes, like you have to be open to that feedback as a stylist, because that's how you grow and that's how you become better. And a lot of times that's how you make a client for life. When they do have an issue, they're like, Hannah's not going to be mad when I tell her my hair's too thin. She's going to fix it for me.
Make it right.
And then we're going to continue on. And now I know if I do have any issues in the future, like I feel comfortable saying to her, like, hey girl, what's up with this?
It's like that first fight you have with like a boyfriend or a friend when you're like, ooh, glad I got that out of the way. Cause then you can like, you can kind of like have a little tiff or a little discussion and then like move it on with it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll segue this into the next question, which is describe your ideal client. What kind of people do you love working on? Personally, people that communicate well.
Yes.
You know, like what would you add?
Just clients that I have a lot in common with. Or clients that it wouldn't be weird for me to hang out with outside of work.
Yeah, I think Haley and I are at a really nice
We
place in
both,
our
I think,
careers.
have our ideal clientele, but you have to figure out what you are looking for in a client, and those are the clients that you market to. So I just think somebody that you have a lot in common with, and I think that's where social media gives us this great platform to talk to our ideal clients.
And that's why it's important to, when you're on social media, share things that you like and are really interested in. Haley and I both love dogs. Like my client brought her dog into the appointment yesterday, you know, because it's like you end up attracting people that know what you like. Or like I have tons of plants in my studio space. And I have clients who are like, oh my gosh, your plants are so beautiful. I have this house plant or this house plant or whatever. So I think you just have to share yourself.
I agree. Heather, as the client, I'm sure you can relate back. I'm sure you've sat in somebody's chair who you didn't have a lot in common with, and the whole appointment was almost like
It's pulling teeth. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So
But you're at a place, both of you in your careers, where you could actually be pretty selective about your clientele.
And
I
we
mean,
are.
to even get an appointment with you, you have to fill out you've got to go through the gate, right? To fill out the
Yes.
questionnaire and the
Yes.
survey and make sure, which I think is awesome. But thinking back to when you started your career, were there days you'd look at your like sheet and go, oh, shit.
yes.
Boresville, you know, like
Or you would see somebody book an appointment next week and you're already dreading next week.
why? Like, what are you dreading? Just it's a boring person. It's somebody who's annoying.
Or you know how the conversation's going to go. A lot of it for me is like, I don't do well with like negative energy or complaining a lot.
Or people that just like are super
They suck
nosy.
the life out of you almost.
Just needy people, I think.
Like nosy about your life or nosy about.
I'm really good at shutting that down. So nosy doesn't bother me.
Because I'm a
nosy.
curious cat, so I ask a lot of questions.
No, Heather.
But am I nosy?
No, it's not. I don't even think nosy is the right word. I think it's like
Like a busybody?
No. Because I'm a busybody. I think it's almost like it's like a lie detector test type thing. Like where they're just, you know what I mean? It's like they're like trying to get to the bottom of something. I've even had clients in the past who were like thinking, this was like long ago, who were like even thinking about going to hair school or doing something. And it's almost like they're sitting there interviewing me or something. You know what I mean? Like trying to
See, I like that.
I don't know. This is another question.
Mine
too.
for me is just people who are draining.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I don't.
That's hard to describe.
It is hard to describe until you have one. I can think of an example. I had a client who you would be like, oh my gosh, it'd be like a sunny and 75 day. And you'd be like, the sun is so beautiful. And this client would say, yeah, but it was shining in my eyes my whole drive here. I couldn't see shit. I almost got in a wreck. And then when I almost got in a wreck, I had to call my husband and he's in a bad mood. It's like that type
Like
of
the SNL Debbie Downer.
Yes, but I just don't click with that type of a person.
Oh my gosh, no.
That energy.
Anyways. So if somebody like that is sitting in my chair, they don't usually last long.
What about the ones who want a lot of emotional support?
I am not the stylist for you.
I don't mind that to a certain degree. Like, I feel like I like, I don't know. I'm pretty understanding. Like, that doesn't drain me so much.
I don't mind listening to, I shouldn't say I'm not the stylist for you because clients they feel super comfortable to share and unload with you. And that's always an honor to me. People who feel, I do a very good job of not taking it home.
That's what I mean. I think
so,
but
I think that depends on who you are as a person.
Right.
Some people, like, they let that go home with them, and that's a hard thing for them to let go of and separate. So I don't mind that. Because I think those are the type of connections when somebody is vulnerable enough with you to feel like they can cry in your chair or tell you about what's going on with their husband or in their marriage. Like, those are vulnerable conversations that like push you into like a deeper client stylist connection. So, and
But
just
whether
make you
you
relate
choose
more.
to engage with that a whole lot or just be, you know, a listening ear is your choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like you necessarily have to like,
Sometimes I think they just need an unbiased person to talk to.
I think vulnerability is earned.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I think it's a probably from your perspective, a different situation if it's a longtime client
100%.
talking about a divorce versus, first time Sally sitting there like, and telling her life story. You haven't,
Yes,
tangoed
I
yet.
will agree with that. I'll agree with that.
I think sometimes too, it's just,
But you also like, you have those people that you first meet and you instantly connect. So sometimes the conversation, I think it depends on the person.
I'm
Yeah.
a chronic oversharer. So
I am
I'm
too,
working
Heather.
on that.
I am
though.
too.
Brene tells me I need to dial it in.
I know Haley and I talk about this all the time and I've talked about it on the podcast quite a bit. I am the type of person who I've had to reel myself back in a lot because it'll come back to bite me
Mhm.
when I share too much.
I do not
Which
have that problem.
Haley has a great like air of mystery about her. She has great boundaries.
People will like, I'll answer things if you ask, but I'm not going to share willingly.
Oh, you don't have to
ever.
ask
Really?
me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just, cause people like to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of the time. Clients like to talk about themselves. And so even if they do ask, like I can usually kind of steer the conversation back towards them. I keep a lot of personal things very personal. And there are things like my family, like my clients know that I'm obsessed with my family, but that's like stuff I'd share with anybody. But a lot of like super personal things, and they would not know. They would have no idea.
Yeah. This kind of goes into the next question. Where did it go? Oh, do you ever, this is coming from, I guess, clients. Yeah. Do you ever just want to be silent? Because this client said that she does, but she feels bad. Personally,
Go for it, girl.
the first time, okay, my assistant came with me to an appointment where Haley was doing my hair. I sat down in Haley's chair and I, as a client, don't talk.
Me either.
I don't like talking when I'm a client.
So you just sit on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Or on your laptop.
Your space.
My assistant, literally like an hour into the appointment, she like came over softly. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" She's like, "I've never seen you so quiet in your whole life." And I was like, "Oh, I don't talk when I get my hair done." And she was just like, "What?" I'm like, I just like chilling.
Yeah.
Even if I will like close my eyes and just sleep. But like, yes, I respect that so hard. And I tell clients all the time, because I talk a lot, I'll say, "Hey, if you don't want to talk, just let me know. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Like, I don't care."
The first time I met a client, she came in and she said, we talked about her hair and she said, "I don't like to talk during my hair appointments. So unless it is a question about my hair, please do not talk to me."
I respect that so hard.
Same. And it takes away any type of like awkward conversation. Because if otherwise, I probably would have been like, "So like, what are you doing the rest of your day?" And she'd be like, "Nothing." And I'd be like, "Okay." And eventually you like get those subtle hints. But when somebody comes out and directly says to you, "I do not wish to have a conversation with you," done. And then if she would like start talking to me, obviously I would engage, but no. And I loved it.
But I feel like most stylists do not, and I don't know if they don't think about it or they just don't, but they don't give the client that permission. You were the very first, and I've had a launch.
Have I said that to you? Did I say that to you?
Well, I think I asked you, so do you hate talking? I was asking you the question, and you're like, "No, I really don't care." And you told the story about, you had just gone for your appointment with Haley. But I don't think most people are comfortable asking, and I just don't think most stylists think to say it. I feel like everybody needs a sign that's like, "Please tell me if you
I
would like to
think
talk or not."
I always tell clients too, especially like my daytime, like I only take daytime appointments. So like that time is a lot of time work for people.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I always tell people, if you need to or ever want to bring in your laptop and work from the appointment, like please.
You are
please.
really good at that. And you guys have long appointments.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
not
thing.
like
We're
your
gonna be
clients
here,
are in and out in 20 minutes. It's
For
a
3 to 4
all-day
hours.
process.
Yeah.
And I think that's also the thing. A lot of times half the appointment is spent with talking, and usually the other half, I would say the beginning, maybe the first hour while you're doing color, you talk a lot. And then a lot of times there's not a lot of talking after that. Once they're back from the shampoo bowl during their extension time, they're buckling down to work. Like, so I think it doesn't, I think our appointments are so long, we kind of hit both phases.
When you had short appointments earlier in your career and you would see more clients in one day, did you get sick of talking about the same things over and over? Like, oh, is your Christmas shopping done?
My assistant, she's like, I hear the same stories for 2 weeks straight. And she's like, it's so annoying. She's like, I could tell the stories for you. Cause I'll have like 3 different stories that I'll tell pretty much all my clients when they're like, what's new? What's going on? Oh, this is what's up. And I don't even think it's like intentional, like, oh, this is my story of the week, but it's like something that happened that's new now.
I used to work next to a lady at the very first salon I was at. And it was so funny because as the day went on, the story changed just slightly to where at the end of the day, it was like so much more colorful that I was like, wow, this isn't even the same story. But I would just listen and laugh because I'd be like, here Sandy goes with her story. And she was literally like the sweetest lady ever. But it would just get, it would get so bedazzled and garnished.
The fish was 5 feet long.
Yes, as the day went on.
I think the small talk conversations get very old, but most of the time I don't feel like I have a lot of clients that I just small talk with.
Yeah.
So those like, how are you? What's new? That will be the same, but then there's like a real conversation that you would dive into. So,
and I think you just have to read the client. Like there's clients that genuinely, I had a client the other day, she was like, she enjoys her girl time with Kelby and I so much. It's almost like meeting up with friends,
Hang out.
like,
agree.
and she loves Kelby and I so much. And so Kelby and I respect that and like have fun with her and really like enjoy that time.
Kind of read them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But then there's times too when Kelby and I know,
You have to be very aware.
yeah, somebody has work to do on their laptop for 3 hours.
Yeah.
When I get my lashes done, I'm pretty religious about it, getting a lash fill every other week. And at first I would put, my girl's great. And she said, do what you want to do. And I would put my headphones on and listen to a podcast. And then I asked her, I said, do you want to just like read a book together and we can listen to
That's
and
precious.
so
Shut
we pick out self-help books because I'm in there every other week and it's an hour, but I don't want to talk. Like I want, that is my time to like
Decompress.
I've listened to
but like,
podcasts with
but like
clients
learn
before.
about myself
Yes.
and improve. It's like I can't move, so I'm going to focus. And so we read books together.
I love
love
that
Yeah.
so much.
It's so fun.
That's
How would
really
you
fun.
feel as a client? Kelby and I have discussed this just recently. How would you feel if I brought in, like, say I had like a smaller, like 20-inch flat screen TV and I like handed you the remote for Netflix or whatever? Like, do you think that, or if I just maybe even had like Friends or like The Office or just something generic like playing, would that be fun or no?
I'm a girl who always likes any option that is presented to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about
It
that
can't hurt.
before.
It won't
There's
hurt.
there's other people in my studio suite that have TVs on the wall, and I'm like, that's such a good idea.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think it would be nice, especially for a longer appointment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a couple more that are really fun. Oh, this is one I can think of off the top of my head. Have you ever had to deal with somebody with lice? And if so, how did you deal with it?
I have not.
This was the most frequently asked question.
Literally, there was like 7 of
Shut
them.
up.
Lice.
I had one girl, this was at the very first salon I was at. I'd probably been doing hair for like 2 or 3 years. She was,
We can't service that.
yeah, she was like 10 years old and her mom, she was my regular client, her and her mom, where I just cut their hair. And her mom brought her in. She had the thickest hair of anyone I've ever worked on in my entire life. And her mom was like, she just got back from Girl Scout camp. She's kind of itchy. Will you just check her for lice? And she wasn't, you know what I mean?
It wasn't during an appointment.
Yeah. So I brought her into my chair. She, in fact, did have lice. And so, yeah, I just grabbed her mom and I was like, hey, she does. I was like,
You
this
have to
is,
leave.
yeah, I was like, this is what you do. I took the cape off and did sanitize my whole station properly. I think you have to actually, once you see it in real life too, it like takes some of the shock out of it. And you're like, it just is what it is. It doesn't mean you're like
There's a
diseased.
lice salon, just so you guys know, in
Columbus.
Columbus. That's all they do is get rid of lice.
Which I think is a brilliant business idea.
Yeah, I mean it's expensive.
Because I'm not the kind of mom, like I'm afraid of it. I've never had it, but I'm afraid of it because I know I am not going to handle, like it's almost inevitable, but I know if it happens, I will not handle it well.
I'm so not afraid of it.
I'm not afraid of it
so
either.
prepared for it. I have 2 lice kits at my house at all times.
Oh.
In the event, it's 8:00 at night. I get my kid in the bath and discover they have lice. And because I'm like, oh no, you're going to school tomorrow.
Mhm.
I have stuff to do. So I have the kits here.
I take lice spray to the movie theaters I don't
yeah.
go to movies very often, but I spray every chair with lice spray.
When I was teaching, I had the reputation of being the teacher who would always send the kids down to Nurse Kelly for a lice check. And every time she'd call me, she's like, Heather,
You were
she
right.
doesn't have lice.
Oh.
No, never. Years went by. And I never found my lice case. So she didn't even take me seriously until one day there was a new girl in the class and I'm standing over at the top of her head and her hair is moving.
I've seen it before too.
And I look and I can see bugs. Not like, I'm not looking for nits. I didn't even know, I've never
They're
seen lice.
full adult bugs.
These bugs crawling in her hair. And I call and I said, I'm sending someone down right now. And she said, She comes upstairs after the nurse sent her back. And she said, well, I go, don't you dare tell me there's nothing in her head. And she said, those are not just lice. That's like 4th or 5th generation lice. They get bigger as they grow. So, I mean, I felt so bad for this girl. It's not her fault, right?
No.
But she ended up then transferring to another school for a little while. And I asked her when I saw her out and about one day, I said, did everything get taken care of? She's like, I mean, I got a new brush, so it breaks your heart because you just know that she wasn't.
Yeah.
But then she came to the Washington, D.C. trip that we had. Oh, no. And I was standing behind her in a line and I could see them still crawling. And I just thought, oh my gosh, she's moving from seat to seat to seat to seat. And every kid is going to come home with lice. And they did.
Oh, they did?
So, oh yeah. It got passed around quite a bit, and it.
Middle school is pretty old. Like that's old too. Like I feel like lice is rampant in like kindergarten through like 3rd grade.
Yeah, but I think she probably had it since 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so
Lord
sad.
have mercy. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
But lots of questions on lice. I was curious about.
Yeah, but the protocol for if for a salon stylist that doesn't specialize in lice, we cannot service you
Per state board.
per our state board.
So if you find it, you have to immediately remove the cape, say, there, are lice in your hair. I'm so sorry. I cannot continue the service or whatever.
and we
Usually suggest that they go get a kit or go to the pharmacist and ask the pharmacist.
and your stylist should be tactful about it also
yeah.
and not make a scene.
Oh yeah. Have some.
Right. It's nobody's fault.
No,
It's not even
no.
like, yeah.
It just happens. It's
Yeah.
life. So yeah, but if you are local to Ohio, and I don't know what the name of the salon, I could find out for you, but
It's in Columbus.
it's a salon that's all they do. So if your kid gets lice, I mean, I want to say it's like $200, but they will comb through your kid's entire head. They'll send you home with a treatment and they hook it up.
There are
So
even salons that will offer a service to come to your house and they bag your animals and they, stuffed animals and stuff.
Also,
That's what
if
I would
you-
need, the full service treatment.
yeah.
If you have a family doctor, you can also call the family doctor that you see regularly or that your pediatrician's office. Tell them they will usually have access to a prescription lice shampoo that they can call in and most insurance cover it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, and you don't have to be seen in office for that. I'm almost positive.
Interesting.
So I would definitely get like a lice kit and then call your pediatrician or your doctor's office and do both.
But I've been doing hair for 11 and a half years and I've never had lice in my chair.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 9 and I've seen it once. And it was the girl who just got back from Girl Scout camp.
Well, there you have it, everybody.
Yeah.
Not as common as you would think.
Not as common.
But do be scared still and be on the watch because
Unless
and
you-
do let your guard down.
Do bring lice spray to the movie theater.
Yeah, just pro tip, mom tip right there.
The next biggest question was about tipping. What is the right amount to tip? And also another one that was asked quite frequently. If you get your hair done by the salon owner, are you supposed to tip the salon owner? And if you see someone in a salon studio like I'm in, do you still tip them and how much?
So I'm intrigued by this because I think my opinion is slowly changing on tipping, especially with extensions. But I also think the idea of not tipping the salon owner or the suite owner is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard because we are the ones that have the most expenses.
Absolutely.
But I have heard, I mean,
I have too.
That's
growing
an
up
old-
that you,
yeah.
and I wondered
Yes.
if it was an antiquated rule that you don't tip the salon owner.
I don't know where that came
I don't
from, and
either.
I don't know why that's a thing. I've heard it.
My
But-
theory is this, because when in the days of booth rental, part of your income is taken away, right, to give to the owner. So they're going to make up a little bit of that by giving you a tip.
Okay.
That at least I have
That's so funny and not true.
I have no knowledge.
Yeah. No. It's okay. It's so funny how people.
That was my thought process.
Yes.
How people, and essentially as a story that's in your head. You know what I mean? There's no truth to that. You don't actually know like how.
It's just my assumption.
Yeah. No, it's so funny how the stories that people have in their heads.
But I'm also a person who would never not tip the owner.
Sure.
I mean, ever.
Agree. I would say standard tipping for hair is 20%.
I agree.
However, tips are something I try not to pay attention to, truthfully, because I don't want that to change. If somebody, for whatever reason, can't tip me that time or chooses not to tip, that is their prerogative. I try not to pay attention to that so that it doesn't in some way affect a future service I would offer. However, I have lately, especially because extensions are such a high-priced, high-ticketed item, I think that I am going to be changing my pricing. Changing my pricing structure a little bit and not even having tipping as an option.
So just built in.
Almost essentially built in so then it kind of removes some of that awkwardness for the client. And not that, because to me, it's like I should be charging accordingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be needing a tip to pay your bills.
Agree.
Yeah. We're not bartenders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been, and it's funny that this was a question because this is something that has been on my mind for probably like 6 months.
Also, there's nothing wrong with being a bartender.
No. You can make bank being a bartender.
Seriously.
But so I haven't done it yet. I think it's something that clients would appreciate though, because they are already spending so much money on their extensions that then feeling obligated to tip on top of that, I think is a lot. Where, I don't know.
And would you expect to be tipped on the service, like not on the purchase of hair?
Oh, if anybody purchases hair, I always give them the service total.
Okay.
If they ask, because no, you should not be tipping on the purchase of hair.
Are we supposed to tip assistants? Because I've never given Kelby a tip.
Nope.
No, I've had clients. I think tipping is
But I
just.
assumed it was just,
No, I think tipping is just all a personal preference.
I agree.
I tell people to do whatever they feel comfortable with. Honestly, it's not going to make or break my opinion or, like how much I appreciate
Yes. Agree.
you. It's just a personal thing. It's just like an extra thing. I personally
think
like having the option of tipping because I think about it from my point of view. Whereas when I go to my lash girl or even when I go out to eat, it makes me feel good because I waited tables and bartended for so long. I love over tipping. Like
Me
it's
too.
like something that
Brings me joy.
brings me joy, like literally. And my husband's the same way now because I've like
Ingrained it in him.
literally I've changed him. But we enjoy it so much, not because we're like looking down upon someone or we're like, oh, hashtag blessing you. But it's just like, it's just something that feels good.
Yeah.
So I always like the option of like tipping if someone does a really good job.
Yes.
Because to me, it's like letting them know from human to human, like, I see you and you
went
great.
above, went above and beyond for me. And I appreciate you for
I
that.
appreciate
great.
you. Yeah.
As far as tipping assistants go, I always tell my clients, because I get this is probably my most commonly asked question. It's not your fault that I have an assistant. So I do not expect you to compensate her. That is my job.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've had people tip Kelby for sure.
Yeah, same thing. If they're like, she just did such a phenomenal job. Can I please leave? Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry, Kelby.
But
No,
teasing,
but
I'm
it's like
teasing, I know.
sometimes people feel like, because I always have Kelby finish my, almost all the time I'll have her style my clients at the end. And I feel like people almost like get this weird thought that like I'm not like paying her or compensating her enough. And I'm like, oh no, we have like a signed contract and agreement. Like she's fully being taken care of. Like literally
Yeah.
Love Kelby so much.
She's
So,
great.
yeah.
I
So
have people that are like, can Lauren style my hair? Like, I don't want you
yeah,
to
I know.
style
No, they prefer Kelby. But yeah, so I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, she just works so hard. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm paying her.
Right,
Like,
that's her job.
And
That's her
she's
job.
learning from
Yes.
me. And there's like a mutual thing here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think people should ever feel bad either way. If you tip, that's super. Like, that's awesome. But if you don't, that's super. And that's awesome because I'm paying her. Yeah.
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 So, I mean, yeah, it's up to you. This is an interesting one, guys. Do I have to spend hundreds of dollars on extensions or are there other options? I would
Yes.
say you have to spend thousands of dollars on extensions.
Yes. Yes.
I think there are other options like everything else. It's like, do I have to buy a
Mercedes or can I buy a Honda Civic?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Well, I had tape-ins for a year and a half, and it was a great introduction
To
to
extensions.
having longer hair and having to take different care of my hair, but they don't look the same. I was very limited in what I was able to do, and then they slip out, and then it was just not it was fine for the time, but there's no comparison.
Yeah, I think it just depends on who you want doing your hair. Like if you want Haley and I to do your hair, we're at a certain price point. If you want someone else to do your hair, then you can be at another price point.
Yeah. And you have to think again, extensions are a luxury. Even if, no matter what that extension is, a clip in, a tape in, an eye tip, a keratin tip, whatever, MBR, it's a luxury. So you're going to be paying luxury pricing no matter what kind of extension you're choosing. There are different extensions at different price points, but yes, you will be spending hundreds of dollars.
So if you get on Haley and I's page and you're like, ooh, their work's so beautiful, I want my hair to look like that. If you want that, then you have to pay like what we charge, but just look for a stylist that you want to look like what their clients look like.
Yes.
And then that's what you have to pay.
That makes sense.
What do you say to a stylist that you left for several years and you didn't say goodbye to, but now you want to get back in with? I just say, just shoot me a message. Like, I don't take
girl.
that kind of stuff personal.
Me either.
Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, so good to hear
This
from you.
is what, okay, I think with this question, coming back to your stylist or wanting to leave a stylist, I think this is something that clients overthink tremendously,
yeah, me too.
truly. You as a consumer have a right to put your money wherever you want to, whether that's with me or whether that's with somebody else. And it's truthfully none of my business if you decide to not come back to me. The only time I would want to know if somebody's not coming back to me is if they are so unhappy. I want to learn from that. I want to grow from that. So would I appreciate you saying, hey, like, I'm going to go elsewhere because I've been unhappy my last 4 appointments. And this is why. Oh my gosh, that's super valuable. You don't owe me an explanation though. I will never reach out to you and say, hey, where have you been? Because I think that's weird and uncomfortable.
I've had that happen. My last one.
Really?
Yeah. She said, you haven't been in a while. Do you need your extensions lifted with the tapes? And
How did that make you feel?
Well, I felt bad. And I think she's an incredible person. I like her so much and respect her.
What's hard is you're
but
not saying you're a bad person.
Yeah. She did not have, because I asked her about MBR and she was not trained in it, didn't know anything about it. I had been researching and I sent her an honest message and just said, I'm trying something different. Yeah. And if it doesn't work for me, I'll be back. And crickets.
And then she reached out to you?
No, she reached out to me. I said, I'm going somewhere else. And she saw it, never responded,
That's
which,
weird.
could be busy but
yeah. That is segues into this question too, which is, should you tell your current stylist you're going to see someone else?
I think
That's up to you. I
think it's up to you. If somebody's not offering a service that you want though, like that's not your fault as the client. Like you want a service that they aren't going to give you. If you want to, I don't think you owe an explanation, but if you're like, hey, I like how you said, I think that's a perfectly acceptable thing. And I would be like, oh my gosh, good. I don't offer Brazilian blowouts. If my client's like, I have to have a Brazilian blowout. Okay, I'll refer you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that personally.
I think people don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And I think as humans, we are wired to think that everybody's thinking about us a lot more than they really are.
Totally.
When in reality, everyone's the star of their own show.
God. Yeah. And that
It's
either
your
makes people feel really good or really bad, depending on how they're wired.
Yes, you have
But
to
people
remember
aren't that they're not thinking about you as much as you think.
It's Heather's world. We're just living in it. It's Haley's world. We're just living in it. You know, like it's my world. You're just living in it. So it's like everyone is the star of their own show, and feelings are so annoying sometimes in that way. It's like, can we just?
That's why I don't have that
But
many.
have you ever thought it really is your own world? And maybe this
No.
is all, do you know what I'm saying?
Heather, you're literally living in my world. No, I'm just kidding.
Like everybody sounds so self-serving and crazy.
I mean,
You've thought that, right? Haven't we
how
all
it
thought that?
is,
Like,
yeah.
what if this is all just everybody's playing a trick on me?
like the Truman Show.
Yeah. Like Dylan over there is like, oh, she's coming in today.
Yeah, like Dylan was hired by
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
producer of your show.
Yeah. Like the Truman Show. Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I don't
It's an
think.
egotistical way to be.
No, it's okay. We're all
I like it.
We've all thought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think
I
you.
think people have to realize like nobody gives a shit about you as much as you give a shit about you. And I've said that a gazillion times, and that comes from the heart.
I just, yeah. And
Because I do give a shit about a lot of people, but like
It's kind of freeing though.
nobody cares. Yeah.
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 I think but I do think there are stylists who do take it super personal, and because especially if there's more than a client stylist relationship. But I just think of it in the sense I let go of an entire clientele when I started taking extensions only. Was it personal to my clients? Absolutely not. It was about business for me. It's about business for you as the client. If you're not happy or if you want to see somebody else, you have that right. And I don't think you owe anybody an explanation.
No, this
For
is,
that.
I think, my favorite question.
Ooh.
Do stylists read texts over the shoulder?
I love this one.
Oh, I
my
saw this and I
gosh.
was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad that people think that. Number one, my eyes cannot even focus that well
Yeah.
to see that. And no, number two, I want to give people their privacy because
Same.
I wouldn't want somebody to read my text. Number three, refer to my last statement. Nobody cares about you as much as you care about you. So like, I literally am not, I don't want to intrude in on someone's life. And honestly, I don't care that much.
Yeah.
If you want to show me something or if
Yes.
you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. And you like hold it up, then yeah, I'm going to look. But like, no, absolutely not. No,
Yeah. No, we don't read text messages.
I can't. My
If you,
eyes
like, start-
literally cannot focus.
No, same. If you start like laughing at something, I might be like, what? What's so funny?
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what's funny or what made you go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not reading your text exchange between your boyfriend or your mom.
No, I don't have enough. Like,
don't care unless there's a
mental-
dog. If I
Yeah.
catch a glimpse
Yeah.
of a dog,
maybe.
Well,
maybe I'll look
also,
at
I
your
think
phone.
people forget you're focused on doing a job that requires a great deal of your attention.
Yes.
And the same thing
Yes.
is in the same way you're in your own little head, like we are staying behind you. We're in our head. We're probably
Yeah.
thinking about like, okay, I need to go visit my mom this weekend. You know, like, oh, I got to get my dog into the vet. Like we're like thinking
Yeah.
about our stuff. We're paying attention to like,
What we're doing.
yeah, the individual like foils and slices. And like, we have things going on.
That is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That we don't.
Because I think that people, I think as the client, I'm in there, you're touching me, right?
Yeah,
You're
it's-
physically touching me. You are here. It is very easy for us to think your world is wrapped up in everything I'm thinking, doing, texting,
nope.
but really you're thinking about your grossry list.
Yeah. And
Yes.
we're like trying to
Just
think
like
about,
we would be, but
I
we're
would be.
sectioning off your hair. We're thinking, okay, I'm going to put 20 volume here and then I need to
Yep.
put low light. And then when I get home, I have Millie's teacher conference tonight.
Mhm.
Ooh, I need to grab the dog leash from the garage. Yeah. Like you're just like not.
random question off the record
I
here.
like it.
When you're doing the,
I'm the only one who does it that way. Everyone else show how you hold a comb.
A comb.
when you're doing the,
When you're foiling.
when you're
Use this
foiling
pencil.
and you've got to go
I
up,
do
down,
it-
up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Is that just so
most people,
tedious?
Most people hold it like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Haley holds it like that. I'm the only one who holds it like this.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Everyone is
How do you
always-
hold your? Do you eat your fork or hold your
No,
spoon
I hold
like
everything
this?
else right. It's
That's-
just foiling.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
I've had
She's weird.
everyone who's ever watched me foil be like, why do you hold the comb like that? I'm like what?
I've never noticed.
But do
never
you
foiled
look
my
at
hair.
that stack of foils? Because I do. I look at it and I think about all those little hairs that you have to, and I'm like, do you just view it as tedious?
No, because I enjoy it.
You enjoy it. Like it's
I used
cathartic to you a
hate
little
it.
bit?
I used to hate it.
You did?
I felt like I'm doing all this work and putting all these foils in here just to take it out in like 30 minutes for what?
The smarter and better you get, though, the more you understand like what that placement means in the overall look. And then you're like, this is important.
It's almost like therapeutic. Like you get in your rhythm, and
the better you get,
especially if you're not talking, like it's very much like, okay, I'm in it. You're like so in your own little world.
Yeah. Because it's like
interesting
rhythm. Yeah.
Because I always feel like that's when I need to fill space.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Also, you didn't choose to do this job. We did. You know what I mean?
work
So it's like,
faster when I'm not talking. True, too. So Lauren, my assistant, she know if we're like blah, 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 me and my client, she almost like tries to take over the conversation with my client because she knows that it slows me down so much when I'm talking while I'm doing color and while I'm doing MBR. When I'm quiet and I'm silent, I am like quick.
Well, I think I have a problem of looking at things that I know my personality wouldn't like and then automatically projecting that on the other person and thinking, well, I don't like tedious things, so that would bother me. That's why I don't get massages, because I feel like the person giving me the massage really does not want to be giving me a massage because I hate giving. And somebody said that to me. They're like, they went to school. Yeah. That is their passion. Why are you robbing them of their passion?
Yes, agree.
Because we're like body. Little squirrels that are like, you have to want to do something else right now.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. I love getting facial zone. I don't feel bad at all when somebody touches my face. But I also like really like little blackheads like poking them and stuff.
I'll find things that aren't even there to pick at.
Yeah, same. Okay, let's do one more. How do you feel when a client says, do whatever you want?
Where'd your mind just go there, Dylan?
Every single time I do a video, that's what they say. I can't.
Yeah, Dylan has it exactly right. I don't think it matters what field you're in. When someone says, do whatever you want, that doesn't work. We need some sort of starting point and guidance.
Yes. If you're blonde, like, do you want to stay blonde? Do you want to go darker? That's usually all I need to know.
Just some sort of lead. Like, I really like my hair blonde, but like maybe we can add some like more depth or
like change it up.
Or I want to be brighter. Or
I want to stay blonde, but I'm open to change within
like,
that.
what do you think with my skin tone and my eye tone? Like, start somewhere.
Do you ever have to just say to somebody that's not going to work?
Yes.
Oh, all the time. Or I'll like laugh and be like, huh, wouldn't that be nice?
Like, that's funny.
Yeah. Because clients like joke around about that sometimes. They'll be like, as dark as I am. And they'll be like, but I do like really want to try blonde someday.
Like that.
And I'll be like, me too. Yeah. Like, I'll be like, oh, me too.
Yeah, you do.
And then we'll end
But people like appreciate that honest feedback too.
Yeah. I'm like,
for the most part.
It's scientifically not possible.
Well, I'm there as a client because I trust you.
Yes.
So I trust you to tell me if I have a jackass idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I often do.
And it's not that there's nothing wrong with you. It's like within the laws of science, that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So ideas are all great.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know you said last one, but I think we should do like a few more, but just answer the question and not elaborate on it.
Okay. Where's the one? What's the biggest mistake you've ever made and how did the client react? I'll start. Biggest mistake I ever made is I left bleach on my own hair a long, way too long time the day before I got married, and I had to cut like 9 inches off my hair into a pixie cut the day before I got married. So I didn't actually make the mistake on a client. I made it on myself. And
I made it on a client.
I reacted with tears and every emotion.
That story.
When I was an assistant, my boss's accountant was 3 days before Thanksgiving. I was practicing a razor cut and I was holding my razor incorrectly. It did have a guard on it, but the guard was actually our biggest problem because I was cutting her bangs and the tip of the razor shaved the skin from the bridge of her nose to the tip, but the skin stayed attached. Yeah.
I have crossing my legs for some
No,
reason.
listen to this. The skin stayed attached. It fell down and blood started gushing. This was 3 days before her family was going to be all together, all of her kids in one state for the first time in like 5 years. They had family photos. Yeah, my boss flipped the skin back up on her nose and put a Band-Aid on it.
Was she cool about it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But it was free. So like, what could she say? Like, I was an assistant. It was like my second month doing hair ever.
My gosh.
Yeah, that was
I don't
my
even know what to
worst
say.
story. Yeah.
What did the client say?
She was like bent over. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this, but she was like, she just bent over and was like, holding her nose in her hand as blood was like dripping through her fingers. Cause of course it wouldn't stop bleeding.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like 19 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible.
It
was horrible. It was a Monday. It was like a Monday at like 10 a.m. And then I had to stay and assist the actual stylist that I worked for the rest of the day. And it was terrible. I'll never forget it. Rosemary. Her name was Rosemary.
And you just had to like block that out of your head for the rest of the day.
No, I literally like probably relive it on a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I fried my own hair off Haley, skinned someone.
Yeah, it's true.
Okie dokie. Is it okay to tell your new stylist that you always need to be toned after foils? I have no problem with someone coming to me as a new client saying just not like telling me what to do, but being like, hey, in the past, one time you can tell me this. You don't need to tell me 14 times, but you can tell me one time. This is what my other stylist used to do. I
love a toner.
I know that you do great color, so like do whatever you need to do.
Wait, what is toner?
Toner is.
I know that you do something with it on my head, but I don't know.
Yeah, so toner is like a pair of pantyhose that you put on your leg, like so it's sheer, so it'll shift the way things look slightly, but it's not actually gonna like if you know what I mean. Like your leg is your leg. Yeah,
it can neutralize, warm, cool.
Oh.
It's a lot of times used for blondes.
If the whole surface is a car, then color or bleach is the brake and the pedal. So that's going to take you forward or backwards. The steering wheel is toner. So it's just going to shift you a little bit. But if you use the steering wheel without the pedals, then you're not actually going to do anything.
Yeah.
Do you tone most people?
Everybody.
Oh.
Pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody.
With some sort of, you can tone with a purple shampoo.
Yeah, and you can like, it creates a lot of shine too. So it's really good.
Yeah, you can use it as a gloss.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she just thinks that people get annoyed by that extra step.
Yeah, she's probably just thinking like the stylist thinks I'm being bossy or being a know-it-all by saying, hey, my other stylist used to use a violet toner on me.
But I will say like toning isn't something, at least when I was in school, and I don't think it is now, something that was taught in schools. So a lot of people don't tone, I'm realizing. So it could be new. So if you are at a new stylist, like I get why people are like, no, my stylist uses a toner and I really like it.
That's why I don't
Totally
mind
fine.
people telling me that, but I don't want you to tell me every single.
Yeah, just one time's good.
Last one.
I hate when you say like last one or we got to wrap it up. Like I don't like that. I just want to keep talking.
More.
Okay, thanks.
What grosses you out the most about doing hair? I don't really get grossed out very easily, honestly. Do you get like? I really don't get grossed out that much because people always come in. They're like, "My hair is so dirty. I'm so sorry." And
I'm like, "Okay, I shampoo every 14 days." Shut up,
Also,
Sally.
I've raised 2 kids and wiped butts a whole lot. Like, not a lot grosses me out.
Yeah, same.
Honestly.
Well, I think again, it's going back to the whole.
You think
that you're paying more attention to it than it is, and I mean, I used to wash my hair the day I would go get it cut every single time.
Please don't do that.
Yeah,
what
it's
we were
just
saying
a waste
earlier.
of your time.
I mean, I'm going to take really good care of myself before I go to the gynecologist
That's
because I want to be
true.
on my best. But it's different, you're saying, with a hairdresser.
Yeah.
You don't have to wash it.
No, please come to me with dirty
Waste
hair.
of time.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
Okay.
How related are hormones to hair loss? I would say extremely.
The most related.
Extremely.
Yeah.
It's like hair is just like skin in that it changes over time. So your hair ages. Also, genetics play a huge factor into everything that is in our bodies, whether it's your weight, your hair color, your eye color, the texture of your hair, how much hair you're going to lose as you get older, your shoe size, everything is genetics. So
it plays a huge, huge role. So a lot of people don't realize that if they are having issues, it could be like with their hormones.
I know the question was about hormones and I was just talking about genetics, but I mean the same way, like genetically you're set up with a certain set of, you're dealt a certain hand. And then as your hormones change throughout your life, that will affect what you naturally have.
Good to know.
Don't say last one, do another one.
I don't, okay, one more. This is because there's, okay,
Damn
this
it.
is the last one.
For sure.
Do you keep,
Remember when we said this was going to be a mini episode?
do you keep scheduling a client that you absolutely do not like?
Nope.
Me neither.
So how do you tell that person? What do you say?
I don't think we're their I don't think I'm the right fit for you.
Yeah. I just had to tell a lady the other day.
I've told multiple people that.
Yeah. You just have to say,
Like you had done her extensions before. And
No. She sent in an application. We had a phone consultation and we just weren't a good fit. And I just said, unfortunately, I just feel like we're not a good fit.
I've had a client who I've done their extensions, put them in, and had to say, we're not a good fit. I'm happy to refer you.
Why?
She, you could tell she was used to saying, I want this done. My clients and my ideal client comes in and they say, this is my idea. This is what I have. Trust your professional judgment. This woman was condescending and she questioned everything I was doing, not in a curious way that I don't mind or like because they want to know, in like a, what are you doing that for?
And doubting you.
Yes.
Trust.
She just was, and I say high maintenance, an extension clientele is a high maintenance clientele. So I say that in a way where it was almost, she was never going to be happy. And because I could tell a lot of times when you have a client who hops stylists a lot, it's usually not the stylist. At the end of the day, you kind of have to look in the mirror. If you're unhappy every single time, chances are it's you. Sorry to break it to you, honey. But, and I think that's just how this was going to be. And I could tell after our first appointment that it was not going to be a good fit. And so.
And you just have to be honest. Like, it's okay to just say like, I hear you. I really like understand what you're expecting or what you're needing. And like, I just don't think I can do that for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think what your expectations for what I want are unrealistic, or for what you want are unrealistic. And it was also like in this girl's case, she had never had MBR before and she was used to having individual extensions. And I was like, everything that all these concerns that you have are very normal. You just don't know what to expect. And there was multiple issues behind it, but it was just not a good fit.
It's okay to say that.
Yeah.
I love it.
This has been fun.
So fun. Thank you for having me, you guys.
Of course. Thanks for
I
coming
hate
on.
when our time zone.
I know. Haley's pouting right now. If you guys have other questions, you can always email.
Send them to our email because I think questions are the most fun in like this way. So we would love to answer your questions. Send them to our nicehairpodcast@gmail.com email.
Yep.
Is it the Nice Hair Podcast or just
nicehairpodcast@gmail.com?
Heather, can you share your socials again so everybody can follow you?
Yes. Heather.Ninuris on Instagram, NIANOURIS. And then Heather Ninuris, same spelling on Facebook.
And we'll put the detail links below.
Thank you again
Thank you
for joining us. This was
what a fun way to spend the day.
so
Thank you guys.
fun.
So fun.
Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.